Ladies and gentlemen, we're back once again. I know it's a shock. 2 weeks in a row, we are back with the Gaming Dads podcast. My name's Tharoah.
My name.
Hanging out with...
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. I'm Scotch. I'm feeling like garbage, so I apologize if my voice sounds like crap.
you sound like a dadliest. What is that guy's name? The guy with the deep voice, like in the 70s. He was on South Park too.
Oh, I know.
Isaac Hayes.
I'm trying my best. Man. I don't know.
Out there on YouTube.
But yeah, week 2, back on it. Actually, technically episode 5. We were saying that last episode was episode 5. This week is episode 5, actually.
Yes.
So correction there. But back to some consistency. Very stoked about it. Very stoked.
I'm too. Getting ready for the holiday season. I've got to drive an hour and a half today to go to a friend's house. We're getting together for a Christmas soiree, I guess.
Oh, there you go.
And then, just kind of hanging out with the family. I think everybody is sick right now, and it's, I know we have this pandemic going on, so everybody's freaking out. But, my son's sick, you're sick. It's a fun holiday season.
Well, I was telling you, my son's in daycare, so he's just constantly sick, so he's just trading it off to me all the time. But speaking of holiday parties, we're hosting a holiday party here at our house. All the family's coming over for an early holiday thing, so that we can kind of chill for Christmas itself. But Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays to everyone. If you're watching this, listening to this, because this will be posted before Christmas,
Yep.
And we won't have another podcast until after Christmas.
So we can kind of remind everybody out there, we're going to try to post on Mondays, right?
Yep, Mondays.
And hopefully having, kind of upgrading our podcast for the new year, 2021. A lot of good things coming for the Gaming Dad podcast. So if you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it, snail mail it, carrier pigeon, whatever you got to do.
Tweet it.
Tweet it.
Text it.
Just make sure you try to get us out there as much as possible, because we really like providing content. And if you have an idea, let us know. Shoot us an email, drop us a line on Twitter. We really like to hear from you and what you would like for us to talk about. I mean, we get suggestions each and every week. I know I have a spot in my Discord, and people will reach out to me, and I'm sure they reach out to you as well. So yeah. But with that, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I mean, the big news right now, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm. The holiday season. Obviously, that's going to be when these, if console brands are going to be promoting their new consoles, that's going to be the time frame that they're going to be promoting them. And obviously, Xbox Series X and PS5 came out just around Halloween, Thanksgiving, right?
Which is typical.
Which is very typical, and then it ramps up and then into the holiday season because, people start buying it, then people start seeing gameplay of it, and then they go, ooh, I want that. Guess what? Grandma's going to get me my Xbox Series X for Christmas. Now, the question that I have, and this was the thing that I'm interested in what you thought, was which console currently is doing better? Because I have very strong opinions on this.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm not as much in the loop, I guess. I mean, I don't want to say that, but for me, here's the thing. I was burned with the Xbox One release. I got the console on release and then realized, God, I'm an idiot, because there are like no launch titles. I must have had almost 2,000 hours in Titanfall, because that was like the only halfway decent launch title they had for the Xbox One.
Right.
And I think they had like Rise, which was a terrible game in the beginning. I'm probably gonna get some flack for that.
A little bit of hate there.
But I don't know. I mean, I know that you've kind of researched this. I feel that most of the news that I see is negative on both sides.
Yeah, there's a little bit of something on both sides. Um, it's tough for me because like I'm not into the consoles as much. But I'm really into like watching the community as a whole, and I'm interested in seeing what developers are making and what's being put out into the public square for us gamers to intake. And this
Right.
is currently the new fresh thing, right? Everyone's talking about Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Oh god.
We'll get into that here later. But between the Xbox Series X and the PS5, I was really hopeful about the PlayStation 5. I really was because
I think a lot of people were.
yeah, I mean, PlayStation has been blowing Microsoft out of the water for the past decade or so. You talk about the PS2 and the Xbox, the original Xbox, right? That was the first time Microsoft really came to the floor and actually presented something that made PlayStation go, Sony go. Okay, we need to step up our game. Well, the PlayStation 2, an amazing console, incredible console, probably one of the greatest consoles of all time.
I mean, it's the most selling console of all time, even surpassing like the original NES and all of that.
Right. You take a look at the Xbox though and what it presented. I mean, you had Halo Combat Evolved, and then you had so many other titles on that platform that made Sony say, okay, we need to step up our game, right? And unfortunately, when Xbox jumped to the next generation, they went down. You had the Xbox 360, and the Xbox 360 was a horrible, horrible piece of hardware. It was horrible.
Yeah.
You had the red.
I still loved it though.
No, I mean it was great to play. I mean it was awesome to play. I mean as far as the online goes, it was all right. You had to pay for it, and the PS3 you didn't have to pay for it. But it was good in the sense of like, oh, I could play. You play good games like. But you had just as good games on the PlayStation 3, and you had better exclusives on the PlayStation 3. And then you had the Red Ring,
right,
which you didn't have with the PlayStation 3.
Right.
You had generations of the PlayStation 3 that were not as good as the original because of the backwards compatibility. But that really, that's neither here nor there. You jump to the next generation, PS4 and Xbox One. Xbox One was good, but it got absolutely obliterated by PlayStation 4 as far as, console titles.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people are talking about this. Something happened huge this year that I don't think people are really connecting. Microsoft spent $7.5 billion on Bethesda. So, we don't really know what that means as far as consoles go. I mean, Bethesda could say, hey, you know what? The next installment in Elder Scrolls is going to be an Xbox and PC exclusive.
Yeah.
Completely cut PlayStation out. Now, looking at projections, so if you don't know how this works, when a company develops a new product like this, they typically will go through what their projections are over a 5-year period. So this is a number that's made up by the company and what they think they will sell. So and by the end of 2024, PlayStation or Sony is saying that they're going to sell about 64 million units compared to Xbox's 42 million units. I think that's probably a little ambitious. They're looking back to those PS2 days and how many consoles they sold back then. And I don't see it. I see the trend of people are still buying consoles. They always will. I preferred consoles. If I could find a better way to play my consoles sitting right here at my desk, I would. But it's just kind of interesting because I am seeing that shift into more PC gaming, especially now. I mean, people buy consoles for exclusives.
Yeah.
Right. And I know Sony has things like Spider-Man and The Last of Us Part 2, which I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but I never really enjoyed the Last of Us series either.
Well, it's so niche. It's a very niche cult thing, so.
Well, and I honestly, so I had a PS4 for a month. I know that sounds terrible. But I've had Xbox for a really long time. So I bought a PS4 for a month for one game, which was Horizon Zero Dawn. I played that game, and then we got rid of the PlayStation 4 because there's no reason to keep it. Because all the games that I played were all on Xbox. Well, Horizon Zero Dawn is now on PC. Until these companies start to wow us with those exclusives, I think you're not going to see a takeoff in sales. That library is kind of what determines what those sales are going to be.
Well, and here's the ultimate thing, and the big focus between Xbox and PlayStation. So, hardware wise, you've heard of people saying, "Oh, the PlayStation 5 overheats really quickly," right? And is that quality controlled? I don't know. There was the meme that the Xbox Series X was blowing smoke when it was people vaping into their Xbox, so it made it look cool because of the holes in the top, and Xbox and Microsoft had to be like, please do not blow vapor into your Xbox Series X.
Morons.
Yeah, but the big thing that's going to kill Sony is the way that they're managing the online. I don't know if you've heard about how they're managing the online.
Oh no.
Sony announced that they're going to be recording all PlayStation 5 like online interactions. All of them.
Okay.
And so
why?
Yeah. Well, that's the question. Why? Why are they doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It takes away that whole like. I mean, it hasn't kept anyone from saying the stupid stuff that you hear gamers say, but they've started to crack down on that kind of stuff, and they've actually kind of moved towards banning people in certain situations if they say something online, which is kind of like a little Big Brother, maybe. I don't know. I heard there was little spurts of people talking about it a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of died down. But it seems to me that this might be the first generation where Microsoft actually beats Sony. Because we talk about exclusives, right? PlayStation 5, I mean, Spider-Man, right? Everyone's talking about Spider-Man. It's an incredible game on the PlayStation 5. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart will be good. You can't go wrong with Ratchet and Clank ever. You have the Horizon Forbidden West, which if you liked Horizon Zero Dawn, Demon Souls. But here's the thing. There's so many other games that are also on the Xbox Series X that the PlayStation 5 has. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm interested in because everything past Assassin's Creed Revelation I feel has been garbage, and then I've watched the gameplay of Valhalla. I'm like, okay, that actually looks fun.
Right.
Cyberpunk 2077, which everyone's talking about, is on the Xbox Series X as well. Hitman 3, which is apparently supposed to be good. Hit or miss with Hitman. I'm trying to look at Resident Evil Village. I'm not sure how people feel about that one. I haven't heard much about it, but I mean, there's a bunch of other games that are on the Xbox Series X. I mean, talk about Call of Duty, right? That's the other big game. That's on Xbox. Like, there's nothing really that sets it apart in a dramatic way. So that I don't know. Like, like you look at the hardware, you look at how it's been managed, and then you look at the exclusives. I don't know that you can put PS5 above Xbox Series X. I can't do that.
I don't either. And I'm trying to do a quick search here of launch titles, because that's my thing, or exclusives,
right?
And that was the thing that frustrated me last year. 7 years ago, when the Xbox One came out. That was kind of my issue. So Spider-Man, yes, that's absolutely a PlayStation exclusive. Planet Coaster is not. NBA 2K21 is not. Maneater, I don't even understand.
Yeah.
So Borderlands 3. I mean, yes, it's a great game. Why? Watch Dogs Legion is not. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is not. So, like I said, I think that's my biggest issue, because I feel that these gaming companies are now becoming lazy. They're like, hey, we're going to come out with this, mediocre PC for you to play, and we want you to spend an ungodly amount of money on it. Oh, but we're not going to have a whole lot of games that are exclusive in the beginning, and most of the games that we have are going to be the games that you've already played.
Well, and that's the great thing about Xbox and about Microsoft so far, right? Is they're moving towards giving you those exclusives that make buying an Xbox like worthwhile. Talk about Ori, right? Everyone knows Ori.
Right.
It's on the Xbox Series X.
Yep.
That's
Right.
huge. I mean, and they're bringing out Halo Infinite, which the Halo series as of late hasn't been great.
It hasn't. And,
but I mean, you've seen some changes. You've seen some things going in the right direction for Halo. You've seen some stuff going in the wrong direction for Halo. We don't know what it's going to look like until the game comes out. So,
I agree.
But the Halo Infinite release, along with the Xbox Series X release, while it's not on time, it's supposed to come out it's been delayed into 2021 because of various reasons. When it was initially announced, it had that feel of the Xbox and the original Halo Combat Evolved release. That's the way it felt when I watched it. I don't know how everyone else felt about it, but I don't have either console, so I'm not here to say I'm on this team or I'm on that team. Again, PS2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 blew Xbox out of the water. The closest it's been has been the original Xbox and PlayStation 2. That's it. Since then, Sony has been killing them.
Right.
But looking at it now,
Exactly.
I can't say that. I can't say it.
And only time will tell.
Yep.
I mean, let's take a look at the situation we have going on right now with Cyberpunk 2077. That hot item, people saying, "Oh my God, it's been in development for 9 years." Look, I before we get into this, I want to put myself on a soapbox as being a computer science major. The neckbeards on Twitter saying, "Oh my God, it's been in development for 9 years. How do you not get this right?" Video game programming and development is one of the hardest forms of software development, right? And you whined, you complained how miserable your life was, that, oh my God, they pushed it back again, they pushed it back again, they pushed it back again. Well, they caved to your pressure, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
Period. Right now we've got Sony announced last week that they'll be giving refunds. They've actually removed it from their as of last night, I believe. Microsoft just announced yesterday, I believe, that they're going to be offering refunds for digital versions through December 31st. Guys, there's a couple of things to remember here, right? One, and I reiterate this every time I comment about it on Twitter or Facebook or wherever I comment about it. Here's the thing. Video game companies are that. They're companies, they're businesses. They're here to make money, right? If you put pressure on them like that, they're going to fold and they're going to release you crap, right? You're going to have games with bugs if you don't have adequate time. I mean, game testing, just the testing portion, you're looking at a couple of years for that, of people trying to break the game. They say it's been in development for 9 years. Yeah, that's great. The first year and a half, you're trying to figure out what engine, what's the storyline going to be like? What mechanics are we going to add before you even touch a computer to start writing code? So having that understanding in this game should have not been released at all, right? They should have given it another 6 months, continue to play test these very common bugs that are happening, pissed off the rest of the fan base, and then finally when it came out, everybody's singing its praises.
Right.
But that's not what happened.
Well, and it's funny because games are so big now. Like the games are massive, and Skyrim was kind of like that first game to create this kind of massive experience for you, and revolutionized it. Since then, it's ever since Skyrim, and Skyrim. I mean, people. I still play Skyrim. I know people. I know so many people who still play Skyrim because of how amazing that game is. But that game also is broken. It's completely broken. I mean, I think I was telling you the other day. I have a character that I play with, who I haven't modded the game at all. I haven't done anything to it, and all of my stats are like, through the roof, all because of mechanics that I've used within the game. Anyway, Cyberpunk 2077 is no different. It's this massive game that's changing the way that we're looking at video games, and it's this huge development. And you're right, it's no longer this thing of like, oh, I just make a game and push it out there, right?
Right.
It's this needs to be developed. The bugs need to be looked at. It needs to be fixed constantly because there's so many moving parts. And I was watching a video of this guy who like he follows one random AI per video or something like that, and he watches what the AI does. And it's all these buggy, glitchy things, which is like, you know, you don't want to see that in a video game, and you know, sometimes we can look at that and laugh at it, but also it's you know, you don't want that necessarily part of your experience, quote unquote, especially when it's. I think the bigger problem, and I don't mean to ramble, is that they hyped it up so much. They hyped it up beyond belief, and that's the reason why everyone's like, why isn't this perfect?
And I want to make this perfectly clear. I don't blame the dev team at all. I don't.
Yeah.
Not one iota do I blame the dev team. I blame the board of directors that's sitting over there at CD Projekt that caved to the pressure of these people on Twitter whining and crying because Cyberpunk 2077 was not released yet, even though your developers are saying, hey, it's not ready. So yeah, you know, we've seen this in the past with Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Unity. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that complete and utter garbage fest? It's the same situation. And so Ubisoft has actually done a really good job at, you know, kind of learning its lesson. And I really hope that CD Projekt does the same thing. You know, but that's where you kind of blend those things of business and making a game.
Right.
Making a game is not easy. I invite anybody that's listening to develop even something that's 1% of what Cyberpunk 2077 is. Go in Blender right now and just do one 3D model and send it to me tomorrow. It's not easy at all.
Yeah. So
I don't know if you could hear that, you know, in true gaming dad's podcast format.
The kid in the background.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's how it works.
It's part of the mystique of the gaming dads podcast is actually like being gaming dads. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree.
But
I digress.
Yeah, no,
that was my thing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That was my.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's you know, and fortunately with games today, you know, it's something that can be fixed. And I think that there's a difference. I want to make a comparison here. When the SpongeBob Rehydrated got released versus Cyberpunk 2077, there were a bunch of bugs in Rehydrated.
Yes, there was.
So many bugs. But people were praising the game. Okay? Yeah. And now we're on the flip side with Cyberpunk where there's a bunch of bugs and people are absolutely like are pissed off. Right,
or then you could be like Nintendo and re-release Super Mario 64 and Shindu Edition, which has all the bugs fixed, and then everybody's angry.
So,
how dare you fix this?
So really, what we're getting down to here is like, are you going to make the gaming community happy ever? No,
never.
You're never going to. But I think that there is a middle ground of no, you shouldn't be praising a game that has a ton of bugs in it, and no, you shouldn't be absolutely obliterating a game with a bunch of bugs in it. Cyberpunk 2077, based on what I've watched, based on what I've heard, and based on what I've seen, is an amazing game. It's incredible what they've done. It's incredible what they've developed, and the graphics, gameplay, I mean, sound, everything. It's an incredible experience aside from the bugs in there, right? But I and you look at Rehydrated. That's a remake, really. Re-release, remake. It's not even like a new game, right? And there were a ton of bugs in it, but everyone in the community was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing!" Even though there were game-breaking bugs all over the place. Like, you can't do that either. You gotta tell the company, "Hey, you know, this is great. We're happy that you've made this, but what the heck? Like, what's going on here?" So.
Here's my issue, and this is probably the last thing I'll say about it.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about like workers' rights and things like that. I don't know if the folks that are out there that are so upset about this realize after this last time that they pushed the game back, the board of directors, in their infinite wisdom over at CD Projekt, said, "All right, you have 6 weeks of mandatory overtime, 80 to 120 hours a week, to fix this."
Right.
Right. And all the board of directors will say when they're asked about that is, we had plans to improve production practices in the future. And no BS.
No.
If any other industry outside of gaming, people would be crying foul and protesting and saying, "Oh my god, why are you forcing your workers to work 80 to 120 hours a week?"
Yep.
Guys, you have to remember that this is not like building a website. This is not a point and click system. And sometimes trying to find a bug could be manually going through millions of lines of code, not just running a debug.
Right.
So all I'm saying is have some empathy, not sympathy. Have some empathy for these game developers, the actual developers, not the morons that run the company.
Right.
The actual people who have dedicated their lives to this project, because I guarantee you a lot of people haven't had the same job in the past 7-8 years. Right? And imagine working on one piece of a game for 7 to 8 years and then open up Twitter and all you see is how much your game is crap.
Yeah.
And it's not even your fault. So all I'm saying is have some empathy for these guys. Was it released too early? Absolutely. But it's your fault. 100% the consumer's fault. So just keep that in mind.
Yep. Now,
Anyway.
on the flip side, I wanted to talk about Call of Duty. I don't know if you've seen Twitter, if you've seen YouTube and TikTok in particular. Prop hunt in Call of Duty.
Really?
Have you ever played? Have you played Prop Hunt?
Wasn't it like Gary's Prop Hunt or something?
Gary's mod. Yeah, like OG back in the day. Gary's mod.
Yes.
Prop Hunt.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I remember when Prop Hunt popped up in Team Fortress, but that was like a server thing.
Right.
Back when they had individual servers, and then they kind of developed that into what you see Team Fortress being today, right? Well, Call of Duty picked it up, and now Call of Duty has Prop Hunt.
What I have to say.
It's I don't know how to feel about it, because you're taking Call of Duty. You're talking about Call of Duty, right? You're talking about this massive game, right? Totally huge. That's Call of Duty. Everyone knows Call of Duty. Not a lot of people know Gary's mod. Gary's mod is a very cult sort of thing, where it's off to the side. It's got the Portal and Team Fortress and oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of the game? Oh my gosh,
I can't either.
Oh my god, why can't I think of the original game? The original game. Oh my gosh.
It's because we're getting old.
What? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get obliterated in the comments for not knowing the name of this game. Portal. What's the other game along with Portal? Is in the red box. What was in the red box with Team Fortress 2 and Portal? Red box.
Here. Google is our friend.
Oh, hold on. Valve Games. Hold on. What was it? Half-Life. I'm an idiot.
Half-Life.
Oh my god.
The like main game that put Valve on the map.
Yep, I'm gonna retire as a podcaster talking about gaming now. All right, bye guys.
That's fair.
Goodbye. See you later. I'm out.
Oh man, I guess this is now the Gaming Dad podcast.
Bad podcast. Anyway, but like that was purely a PC, experience, Gary's mod, that sort of thing, right? And for Call of Duty, like it's so wacky and weird. For Call of Duty to have Prop Hunt, and it's really interesting that the way they've created it, and there's really fun gameplay, and it looks a lot like the fun gameplay that I remember from watching Prop Hunt back in 2010, 2011, watching when PewDiePie was smaller, and watching him with like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, and then play Prop Hunt together, and all the other like gamers that were like nerdy gamers back in the day. Play Prop Hunt. It's a very similar. It's almost like calling back to that sort of thing. So it's like the 15, 16-year-old in me is coming out and watching this gameplay again, and watching people have that same experience now in a new format is really interesting.
Well, here's the thing for me. It doesn't surprise me that they did this at all. anybody has followed any of my like social medias or anything like that over the past couple of years, I'm very, very, very hard on Treyarch, which of course is the developer of the Black Ops side of the series.
Mm.
Um, here's my issue: Call of Duty, because they felt that they've, I mean, I don't want to say felt, but they've kind of lost relevancy. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 were phenomenal games. Like they groundbreaking, right? But they can't do the same thing over and over. So to me, I feel like every Call of Duty game after that has been a copy of another game. Perfect example, Black Ops 4, where you're running along the walls and climbing and all this other stuff. That's just Titanfall.
Yeah.
So, they copied off of Titanfall, Gary's mod. Warzone. Warzone tried to capitalize off of the Battle Royale. So, I feel that yes, it is really cool, and it does play towards that nostalgia side of a lot of people, but it's lazy. It's if you're going to spend the time and money, you need to take a step back and kind of really think about, hey, how can we elevate and be innovative?
Yeah.
And I just feel that Call of Duty hasn't done that for a while now.
Well, and that's my big issue with it is it's like it's a cash grab, and it's a big company taking something that a very small community was really, really interested in and loved for over a decade now, and they're using that for their IP and to make money off of it. And I don't fault them for that, because Prop Hunt is so much fun. And again, like I have such good memories of playing Prop Hunt with random people on that engine and Gary's mod, and just having so much fun with it. But the I guess you could say the indie, the very hipster gamer in me looks at it and goes, yeah, but you didn't play that on Gary's mod. You don't,
right? Of course.
So, and I don't want to be that posh kind of person, but you're right. It's just a series of games of kind of like taking ideas from other people and putting it in their IP.
And that's where, I mean, people enjoy it, and that's perfectly fine. And like I said earlier, talking about CD Projekt, these companies, again, they're not art, working for free to provide you entertainment. They're businesses, so they're gonna do whatever they can to be able to maximize that bottom dollar, and I completely understand that. But God, I'm ready for something new in first-person shooters.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Warzone. I have not played the new Black Ops, but I remember we talk about old consoles, sitting on the Xbox 360 playing Black Ops 1 and 2 online, getting told that somebody's gonna come take my mom out or something in a voice message. That you want to be nostalgic, bring that back.
Oh my God,
give me the last 15 years. That'll help with my nostalgia.
Yeah. Now a quick change of pace here, real quick before we go to a different topic. I know we were talking about this beforehand. I just wanted to bring it up in the podcast. Mike, looking at Twitter, Mike Pence announces that members of the Space Force will be called Guardians.
I'm sorry. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Look, and for those of you that don't know, I'm retired United States Air Force. I spent 10 years, 3 months, and 2 days in the Air Force. I am officially retired. And I'm sorry, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. Guardians? Are you kidding me right now?
I love it. See,
I hate it.
It was hilarious. My wife and I were talking about it, and she's like, why Space Force? I'm like, why not Space Force? Like, what else do you call them? Like, the Air Force is the Air Force. It's up in space. It's the Space Force. What do you want to call them? The Galaxy Defenders? The International, and Intergalactic Defense? Like, what do you want to call it? Like, anything is going to sound
Galaxy
wacky.
Force. Look, I would prefer Galaxy Force.
But I like Guardians. I think yes, it's ridiculous. It looks like I'm reading it. And I'm like, are you serious? We're going to be calling these people Guardians? Like, but you know what? Fine. I think it's amazing, and I think it's hilarious, especially with Guardians of the Galaxy and everything. It just makes I'm just imagining the promos for the Space Force and the Guardians, and you're hearing
Oh my
stuck
God,
on
stop
a
that.
feeling
Oh Lord, pop it in the mixtape.
Oh
Yeah, that's
my
fair.
God.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing, and I'll just comment on this really quick before we move to our next segment. Being in the Air Force, that was our mission for the longest. Is we controlled airspace and cyberspace. There's a lot of argument of why the Space Force was around. Hey, we have NASA. What do we need the Space Force for? Well, NASA is a civilian branch of the government, and Space Force is not. Um, it's going to be interesting because there are a lot of treaties that state that nobody can militarize space, and so it's kind of making other countries and things kind of nervous.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the Space Force is literally a bunch of guys like us sitting at a computer doing the thing.
Yep.
Shout out to any military member. And I haven't really done a whole lot of research if the Space Force still falls under the Air Force, kind of how the Marines still fall under the Navy, or how that's going to work. I don't know. I live here in Colorado, and that's where most of the Space Force operations are. And I go to Peterson, and forever that'll still be known as Peterson Air Force Base, but they've changed it to Peterson Space Force Base, and I just can't bring myself to say it.
So for my job, I work at a call center, but I mostly help out military members.
Right.
And I think it is a separate thing now. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. But anyway, we did talk about cheating and speedrunning last week, and it's kind of fortuitous that in the past week there has been a massive. I mean, this is something that we can't avoid talking. You got to talk about it because of how big of a thing of it. But Dream, the biggest Minecraft speedrunner on YouTube.
Yep.
I mean, he's got 14 million of some odd subscribers, maybe more at this point. I think he's up to 16. One of his videos has 54 million views. This is recent. We're talking.
Right.
He got caught cheating. The moderators supposedly right. Speedrun.com, the moderators there took a look at some videos and did some data analysis, and it's all based off of the luck chance, the RNG. So if you know, everyone knows speedrunning, they know RNG, random number game, or random number generator. I call it random number game because that feels like a game sometimes, just a game within a game. But
right, okay.
Specifically the Ender Pearl drop and then the the Blaze Rod drop were so ridiculously high in comparison to other speedrunners that there was a 1 in 7.5 trillion chance that Dream got the drops that he got, making the run so unlikely to happen that the moderators didn't feel comfortable with verifying the run and felt that it was cheated.
Right.
So
and look, for those of you listening, Scotch just said 1 in 7.5 trillion. Yep. Not million, not billion, but trillion. Okay. So those odds are so astronomical. You have better odds of winning the lottery in the United States.
I think I saw a tweet saying that you have a better odd. You have better odds of winning the lottery 755 times than you do doing what Dream did.
And see, and here's the thing, just like I went down this Pandora's box, this rabbit hole over the last couple of days on cheating and speedrunning and cheating and gaming altogether. All of them have the same boilerplate, exactly what Dream did. Instead of saying, hey, you know what, here's all my footage, here's all my information, I would like to be able to redo this, whatever. He defended it. He argued it.
Yeah.
He looked like an ass.
Yeah.
And since, I didn't realize that. I know you did, Scotch, but all of those tweets have been deleted.
Mm.
And, but I think if he would have handled it a lot better, saying, hey, yeah, I can understand that. I really did have the run. Here's my information. I'll just keep grinding. Because it wasn't even a first place time. It was a 16th place time. Right? So I don't know. I think if Dream would have kept his mouth shut or said, "Hey, yeah, here are all the facts," but I'm more than happy to continue grinding and doing my thing. I don't think we would have heard anything about this.
Yeah. Well,
But the fact that he had his community, he weaponized them almost, um, to harass and to do all of these things with leaderboard mods. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, and there have been plenty of videos made so far about the whole situation. Most of them are seeming to come out against Dream. But you're right, the whole community aspect of it. We talked about this in a podcast 8 months ago about the Super Mario Odyssey community and how that community got weaponized like 50-50. They were attacking each other. It was insane. And you know what? At the end of the day, are the moderators right? Are the moderators wrong? I don't know. I'm not here to make a judgment on that. That's that community, and that's the thing about speedrun.com is that the communities are split in such a way where they manage themselves, which is exactly what you should be doing with this sort of thing, because there's no two speedruns that are going to be the same. Zelda, Ocarina of Time is run. That community is run.
That game is broken.
Number one, it's broken. Number two, it's run completely differently than the Super Mario 64 community. You can see that very clearly. Number one, the consoles are split on Super Mario 64, whereas on Zelda, it's not. You only play it on the Wii because it doesn't make any sense to play it on the SM64 because it's so dramatically different that they're just like, we're just going to play it on the Wii, and that's just what we're going to do. And they just categorized it like that. And then you've got the broken aspect of it where, not only are they breaking the game as far as like glitches and stuff like that, but literally down to the code of the game, and that's how they're winning it. That's beside the point. But the Minecraft community managed itself. It did it worked perfectly. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was the moderators looked at it, they analyzed it, they said, we don't feel comfortable putting this on the leaderboard. We cannot, in good conscience, based off of the knowledge that we have, put this on the leaderboard. And I think that any community, if they did the exact same thing with their game, they would say the exact same thing. I think without a doubt you would see that happen.
There are going to be people that disagree with what I'm about to say, but I agree with speedrunning the games being able to manage themselves. But what I would really like to see, as far as addressing these types of situations, is almost, and you're probably going to cringe when you hear this, but
absolute cringe.
almost like the NCAA, where you have an overarching, kind of governing body, I guess, that deals with these situations. That because let's face it, we have cliques in speedrunning. We do. We have cliques. And people saying, "Oh yeah, he's a bro. I'm going to let this in." It's happened time and time and time and time and time again. Right? Or another perfect example. What if I cheat in one game and decide, you know what, I'm going to start running Super Mario 64? 9 times out of 10, if I wasn't huge in the other community, the Super Mario 64 community isn't going to know who I am. And I think if I cheated in one game, I should be heavily scrutinized in the next game. But what if there's an issue like we have this situation now where a run that is either has been verified or a run that hasn't been verified, and there's kind of a discrepancy, an argument over if it should be verified or not. There's no overarching anything of saying, hey, all right, did both parties do correct? All right, like an independent source almost. That doesn't exist. So, if you have some games like, for example, A Link to the Past has had issues with corruption. They've since improved, but where you had leaderboard mods that were submitting faked runs that were getting verified, they were completely fake. And they were getting verified on the board. So I don't know. I think that's going to be one of the biggest ways to be able to combat issues like this. I think this particular situation blew up way bigger than it should have. And that's mainly because of Dream.
Well, and that's the whole point. Is you're not talking about like a smaller speedrunner. This is Dream that we're talking about is the one that's getting caught doing this. And when you have Donkey comment on this, And
Yeah, pretty
I
big.
mean, the video is very unbiased on the way he approaches it. I mean, he's mostly a comedy YouTuber than anything, but the way he approached it was very level-headed, and it was, I mean, a short little 5-minute video. But when you have Donkey comment on something that's happening in the speedrunning community like this, you like that's when you like this is a bigger than I think we realize, and this is going to have overarching consequences, whether good or bad,
I agree.
into the rest of the speedrunning community. And you know, I don't know. I continue to struggle with like looking at. I've seen the data, I've seen what they've said, I've seen what Dream says. I read his huge long document that he wrote defending himself.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. Was he just that lucky? Maybe. There's you know what? If there's a chance, there's a chance, right? So you're saying there's a chance, you know?
Right.
But it's at the same time I'm looking at that, and I understand, having watched speedrunning for, you know, a year and a half now, seeing it and being like, okay, that is way more unlikely than anything. It makes me question it. And again, I'm not one to comment whether it is or it isn't, because I'm not in that community. From what I've seen, it looks like he cheated. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
My problem is is Dream's reaction.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue. I would have probably given him the benefit of the doubt and said, "Hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe there's a chance out there. You know, it's a possibility. You know, we'll see." But the fact that he came out, you know, kicking and screaming, just like all of the other cheaters in speedrun history,
Yeah.
right? I guarantee you, if any of those people had just stepped up and said, "Hey, you know, here's the data. Here's what I did. You know, I understand if you don't verify because it is a very high chance. I completely understand, but let's just do it again. We did it once. We could do it again. Let's make it happen."
Yeah.
So,
Well,
that's kind of my thing.
Well, and you talk about people kicking and screaming, right?
Yep.
There's not necessarily in speed running, but for what for our own sake and the sake of our wallets and the sake of getting this video taken down, this is all hypothetical. FYI,
Right.
What we're about to talk about, hypothetical. We're not sure. It's just based off of data information that we've received and kind of hypothetical. I don't know. But you've seen this kind of thing with Twin Galaxies, right?
Yep.
I mean, and I mean, we before the podcast, we read Apollo Legends' comment on YouTube of all of the videos being taken down from the one guy about him. And you did a little bit of research on Twin Galaxies recently, though.
Yeah, so interesting enough, and I know that a couple of people have made videos about this here recently. To kind of fill you in on just the facts here, is for years, you know, Apollo Legend has been investigating a man named Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell was a part of Twin Galaxies back in the 80s and 90s, and was supposedly, you know, the gamer of the century and the highest score in Donkey Kong, and all of these things were refuted in Apollo's videos. But Twin Galaxies was an organization that existed way before speedrun.com, and they validated these high scores at gaming events. So there were two ways that you could validate your scores. You could validate your scores either with a ref, like an actual representative of the company at the event, watching and verifying that, hey, you hit this score, or B, you could provide that video proof. So for many years, you know, Billy Mitchell has defended that he's had these records, and it's been a point of contention. Okay. Now, Twin Galaxies was sold in the past year or so. Rick Fox, the owner of Echo Fox, and also former basketball player for the Chicago Bulls. Rick Fox bought Twin Galaxies. Well, here in the past 2 months, there's a massive lawsuit against Billy Mitchell. And those of you that know, Billy Mitchell has sued anybody left and right that has even mentioned his name. All of these just completely frivolous lawsuits. And that's all fact. So this new lawsuit alleges that Billy Mitchell and the individuals involved with Twin Galaxies inflated all of these records that have been on the books for years and years and years in order to increase the legitimacy of Twin Galaxies, in order to increase that price for a future sale. Now, this is massive because now we have a federal court document stating, hey, there's evidence against what Billy Mitchell's been refuting for years. So I'm interested in seeing what is the outcome of this lawsuit, because this is massive. This could overturn things. But referring back to the Apollo legend, like I said, he's been kind of investigating this for years and years, and on his YouTube channel he talks about cheating and speedrunning. But I want to kind of read what Apollo posted 3 months ago, which was a shock to everyone, because he'd been keeping up the big fight. You know, he had all these lawsuits, cease and desist from Billy Mitchell, and then all of a sudden Apollo states, "Today I made the decision to remove many of the videos from my YouTube channel. I did this to fulfill an agreement I've reached with Billy Mitchell, but also because I thought it was the right thing to do. I've also taken this opportunity to remove a few additional videos that have nothing to do with Billy Mitchell." I'm going to continue on here. "For your own protection, I ask that you not republish any of the videos that I produced about Billy. As a part of our agreement, I've given Billy ownership of these videos, which means he has the ability to remove these videos if they are republished to YouTube or any other public space." That's a sellout.
Right.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people have kind of commented down here in the comments saying, "Oh, you know, it's maybe it's for money," or you know, Carl Jobs, which he's another speedrunner who's kind of done some things on Billy Mitchell as well, received a cease and desist, said, "Don't worry, guys, I'll never back down." But here's the thing: they're saying, "Oh, well, it's worth money because you know, Apollo Legend doesn't want to lose out on a whole bunch of money." That's not true at all. You know, his community behind him, he had more than enough money to be able to fight a frivolous lawsuit. Anyway, but it was a sellout. It was a cop-out. And Billy Mitchell allegedly had spent the last, I don't know, 15 to 20 years trying to cover up all of these Twin Galaxy facts that are now coming to light in a federal lawsuit.
Well, and
that's just interesting.
That's the funny part about all this is that Fox is like, he bought Twin Galaxies, and I remember watching Andrew G. He was like one of the first speedrunners I started following, and he commented a lot on Twin Galaxies. I would love to have him on here to talk about Twin Galaxies a little bit, because it's just his comments on it were just so interesting. But it was just it was very much the sentiment of like, Twin Galaxies was this incredible thing that was, but just completely fell apart because of rampant abuse and politics and bureaucracy within, you know, the company. And it's just funny that all this is coming to light through this guy who bought Twin Galaxies, realizing how like he had paid too much, and now he's suing these people who, I'm going to use your words, overinflated the worth of Twin Galaxies artificially through whatever these means out.
Right.
Now, with that being said, this is all hypothetical. I'm not saying that Billy Mitchell cheated. I'm not saying he actually overinflated Twin Galaxies or not. But based on what's being shown to us, based on the court case, based off of the evidence provided for us, these are just thoughts that I have. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, too. Just so you're aware, as far as the financial side, there was a GoFundMe set up for Apollo Legend for his defense to be able to defend against.
Yeah.
Well, he refused the money. He straight up refused it. Said no.
Yeah.
No, I know that you guys are willing to pay for this, but no. So it's kind of a sad day, I think, with Apollo Legend. It's cheating and speedrunning. I mean, speedrunning is an honor system. So once that honor system is broken, you pretty much the integrity of the leaderboard doesn't exist anymore.
Mm.
And I could submit a time of anything because it doesn't matter. So anybody that was combating that is huge. As a matter of fact, with him removing those videos, he lost 15 million views off of YouTube, which is an estimate of a loss of between between 4K and $61,000 in the loss, just removing those videos, which is insane. I don't know. I'm pretty sad about it.
Yeah.
It really kind of sucks. Easyscape has commented on it. There's quite a few other big names in speedrunning. Cheating doesn't belong anywhere, and I hope at the end of the day this lawsuit finally bringing out in court something that Billy Mitchell has used for the past 15 years to weaponize himself, using his own ammunition against him, and I hope the truth comes out.
Yeah.
I really do, and we can go back to normal life, I guess.
Yeah, go back. Well, and that's the thing. Like we talked about in the last podcast, is just being genuine, and that's all we want from games. I think if we wrap this podcast in a nice little bow, it's all about just being genuine. Because you look at
It is.
Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, we just want genuine games. Cyberpunk, what do we want?
Yep.
Like, sure, are there bugs in there? We just want a genuine game. We just want a nice game. Prophunt in Call of Duty, Is that genuine of them to put that in there, or is this just a cash grab? I don't know, but is it good? Is it bad? It could be a combination of both. Dream.
I mean,
can you? And then of course Billy Mitchell. I mean, it's just, that's the whole thing. I don't know.
And we want to hear from you. Our last video, our last podcast that we ended up putting up, did really well for us. Sitting at almost 100 views right now. Gained a lot of subs from that, but more importantly than the views, more importantly than the subs, is the comments down below.
Yep.
Make sure, I will reply to every comment that's down there. Tell us what you think. Tell us, hey Tharoah, you're full of crap. You're just an angry old dude. I'm cool with that. A boomer.
Tharoah.
Hey, I'm okay with that. But I mean, you're right. It's about being genuine, and that's one of the things that with this podcast I strive to be each and every episode. I mean, you and I don't agree all the time.
No.
There's a lot of things that we don't agree on, but that's okay because we can present that to each other and kind of talk about it and elaborate of why we like Guardians. I think it's stupid. You love it. I think it's fun.
I think it's amazing. I think it's the best thing to happen in 2020.
So, but, guys, we over the next, I don't know, I'd say a few months, you're going to see an evolution in this channel, and we want you to be a part of it. This is not just us sitting and talking. We each have our personal streams. Scotch does the TikTok thing. We have Twitter as well. Which we'll put all of those links down in the description.
Links in the bio.
And as we're kind of wrapping it up, I do want to give a huge shout out. That lovely music that you hear at the beginning of our podcast is done by a good friend of mine, Odd Kate, who is phenomenal. You need to check them out on YouTube as well. Odd Kate just did a remix of an SM64 song. Odd Kate's got a lot of really cool stuff on their channel. Check them out. They're also on SoundCloud. But yeah, that's what we're all about. If you have any content that you create and you want to be a part of this, let us know. Reach out to us.
Yeah, I'm using gameplay now for the visual. I hope that everyone's appreciated that. It's a little bit of my own gameplay. But if you have a speed run that's close to about an hour, maybe a little bit longer than an hour, that you would like just kind of shown, we can do that. Send me the video. We can throw it up there. Show off some other people in the community speedrunning, or just other gameplay, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. And again, Tharoah's got ideas. I've got ideas. So things will be changing and transforming over the next couple months probably. But again, comments would be greatly appreciated. We do a ton of research throughout the week trying to find stuff to talk about. But if there's something specific that you want to hear us talk about, definitely leave it in the comment. We'll get to it. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. And again, Tharoah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family. Be safe. Happy Holidays to everyone out there. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
I think that's gonna be it. Just be safe, guys. Going into this holiday week, I got to pull out the dad card.
Yeah.
Enjoy your time. Go check out a new streamer you've never seen before.
Yeah. So
those small content creators.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, we'll leave it off there. Take it easy. We'll see you next week, and as always, good gaming.
You as well.